Everything in the plant kingdom is photoactive. Okay, that's number one. Everything. And so why am I presenting a few? These are particularly studied. They may be they stand in that top tier of things. So if you're going to get a supplement as an example, you may as well get the one that's most photoactive. Anything that's more bitter is typically more powerful.
Hey, and good afternoon, everyone. Trying to bring you the brightest minds, the newest ideas that are pulling us through this new world. Now, if you haven't seen this week, we have shifted definitely gears again into, I would say this is really the beginning of the change of it into this newest world or new iteration, whatever you like to call it, this newest phase, chapter that we're moving into in our civilization, our societies. And you notice that they're coming up with all types of excuses why we need to change the economy, why we need to change the energy systems. And I do believe we are also going to be changing medicine. And that's a big statement to say, but you can see the entire construct of our world is being shifted. There's no area that's being left out. Everything in unison is shifting at the exact same time. So when we talk about light, frequency, vibration, the things that have been talked about since time immemorial as the way it actually is the construct of our world, how to harness that to be able to do something more beneficial with it. And I do believe that this will be talked about more as we move forward more freely, and it'll be integrated into what you consider the daily workings of our lives. So somebody who's at the forefront and the very tip of the spear bringing this technology back to us. It's been lost for, I would say, a good 100 years. It was really used back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, disappeared for almost 100 years, and then boom, we're back. Red light therapy. And myredlight.com, you can use the code ADAPT to take 10% off. Now, this is our third talk here with Jonathan Otto from myredlight.com. And I've been using the device. And again, I'm being a little creative on how I used it. Last time it was more for insect bites and other sorts of things. Well, this time I'm fixing my house. I got contractors over, we're working metal roofs and thing. And I've cut myself in several places, scratched, gouged, cut. So I was very selective in what I'd put in front of. So I would just hold my hand. And, the healing was different depending on if I was in front of the red light, healed or not. Here on the bottom where you can see that cut, no red light, just using alcohol on it. But that was the exact same day, same cuts. That's gone. Yeah, the insect bites, having a farm and trying to get out and, we're trying to hay out. We did a bunch of hay cutting. It's been so wet, really difficult to get the hay. It got taller than we wanted. But there's a lot of biting insects in there. So I wouldn't say an enormous amount, but, a handful more than the average on bites of different types of insects. Stand in front of here, again, the itching stopped. I wouldn't say instantaneously, but within at least an hour, maybe 2 hours max, it stopped. And it didn't itch from that point forward. And those things, in addition to what we normally put on with different kind of, salves and thing to try to get itching stuff, it actually healed up much quicker. And I was shocked by that. So I always, anytime I'm bitten by an insect, mosquitoes, or some kind of red bugs or whatever they are, go in front of here. And I had amazing results with it. And I'm trying to think of innovative ways. Now I'm looking at, can my cuts resolve themselves and my skin repair itself faster? So, so this is what I want to talk about today. And we're just going to do a live session here. I'm just going to say some things and we're going live, put it in front of here just to see what it would do in response. And I've only been putting the hand in front of it, not the forearm. And you can see the difference. So I thought maybe you could explain that in cellular regrowth or some sort of mechanism that would cause the skin to either dry out faster or fold in on itself faster or do something at a different rate of speed, because it was definitely noticeable for my thumb here. Even though I was wearing gloves, it still had, because it sliced at an angle and it just scraped down.
Wow. Yes.
Compared to this.
David, first of all, I think the audience would be amazed at your commitment to yourself as a scientific experiment by knowing that something was working or believing that it was working and then not applying it to an area. Obviously, it's a non-fatal wound. And so, but you've applied it to one area, got healing, and you're happy to let this one kind of continue as is. So you've got a live demonstration. You're kind of like me. I would do something so bold because I'm naturally curious. And as well, I want people to see the differences. And, you've got a device like this in your home, David. Now you're basically opted out of all types of expenses across the board. And so the reason why I believe that healed for you in your hand is because you're activating stem cell production, and it's through, especially through mitochondrial function, and mitochondria are in cells. They're in the cells. They're in the stem cells, and so when they are charged, they also store energy like batteries. And then they continue to use that energy for anything the cell needs. So whether it's to produce the a hormone, whether it's to regenerate tissue, like heal, whether it's a bone that needs to heal, because stem cells are actually being produced in the bones. So, of course, interface with the bones, near infrared will do that because you would think, well, how does light even get in the bones? Well, this light that you're seeing doesn't get in the bones, but the light you can't see, by the way, this one's not on, this one's just reflecting onto the other. But the light that you can't see that's coming out of this, which is near infrared, which is invisible, will get straight into the bone and help regenerate bone, and create osteoblast activity and create and increase bone density. It's all cellular function. Your body needs to heal, no question. Your body will heal. If it doesn't heal, it's only because there's an infection that it can't resolve. And meanwhile, the body's trying to heal, and you're giving, like, it has an antibacterial aspect, especially the blue that's in there, because it's 480 nanometers, so it's going to land more shallow. And so it's going to help in those arenas. But anything in the 600s is going to help skin. 500s, that's got 590 in it, the one that you've got there, and all these devices that people can see, they've all got 590, very good for skin, collagen production, hyperpigmentation, which I've struggled with, hyperpigmentation because of my Malaysian background on my mother's side. Like all our siblings, my mom has it, and so it really helps a lot with that. It's helped me a ton with the hyperpigmentation. So like all like the mix of colors that can come out of the skin. David, I think people would love to see some of this research here, and you can tell me what areas you're most excited about diving into. Um, and so have a look at this.
Yeah, I like that
So,
chart. That's a little bit different than the one that you had in your free webinar
oh yeah,
that you were offering. It's really broken down in very great detail. Now that is in the webinar, but this chart is not. This must be a new one.
yeah.
Please go to myredlight.com, check out the free webinar that's there. It goes into much greater detail than what we're talking about. And if you're into the science of all how it works, the experiments, the peer-reviewed research, etc., that is all there for you. It's about an hour and a half totally, or is it a little
Hmm.
bit longer even?
Yeah, it's about that. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
but you'll definitely come away going, wow, that is an enormous amount of research. These people are on it.
Yeah.
And like, wow, you can tell somebody who's
No, thanks for
really
that.
dived in and covered every single angle and really tried to create something that, again, when you got peer reviewed research backing up studies and results, then wow, that's just something on top of, you know, I don't know what we can really say here, but I'll leave it there. And please jump
Yeah.
over and watch the free webinar.
No, I appreciate that, David. That's really awesome. And I give credit to my team. I've got about 50 people that work in various departments, whether it's anything from video editing to research to, uh, design, and every element to help us get the message out to the world, because you need, it takes an army. And so I'm grateful for everyone that's involved in our operation. So David, here you can see 480, like I mentioned, it's the most shallow, and then 590 is just getting slightly deeper, going past the epidermis to the dermis, 630 into closer to the subcutaneous tissue, but hitting right there, right in the middle of the dermis. And so subcutaneous tissue, muscle, bone, interior tissues are all start to get interfaced at deeper levels within the near infrared spectrum, which are non-visible wavelengths of light, which is 810 up to 1060. And so really, really amazing. And now when you look at the research on this, you'll see all this different science. I think that we've covered some of this, and I'll kind of breeze over this. You've seen this right before, David?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I took some screen grabs one of those times
Yeah.
that we talked. Now, remember, keep in mind, everybody, those are pre-programmed settings that you got right here in the machine itself for any
Yeah.
of these things like the fat burning, etc. So it's already
Yeah.
programmed in. It's not like you have to tweak it yourself to into these. These
Oh,
are already set
exactly.
there, and you can adjust the lights up or down on the intensity, which I do sometimes. So for me, like I'll get up in the morning and use it kind of as my alarm clock, where I'll sit with my feet to it in the morning and just let that really universal red, just kind of, it's like a really bright red for me, sunrise, and it kind of wakes me up and whatever it does with my
Wow.
biorhythms. Oh, it's morning time. Okay, get up, feet warm up. You got that red hitting you, and you just feel like, wow, you're on a beach somewhere. Not that that's the point, but the
Yeah.
biorhythms come back in flow again when you get that sunlight, even in the room.
And so looking at these wavelengths, so weight loss, fat burning, cellulite reduction, metabolism, and one of the cool things with that is that there's so many different products that you could try to use for all these different things. Like there's a pill for every ill, even in the supplement world. And I'll use cinnamon, use berberine, use turmeric, use this, use that, and then all of a sudden you're up for like, $300 in a month, and then which means you're up at about over $3,000 a year, close to $4,000, and that's not even really getting everything you could. But what what we're doing is we're tapping into all the ways that the body best activates all of these processes. And so what we're finding is that red light is outperforming any supplement. And it's interesting. I'm saying that I have a supplement company, so I have no need to bash on supplements. I think they've great. They've got a purpose. But if there's one thing that I make sure to do other, more than all things, it's red light, even though, yes, I've got like a cabinet full of supplements because, I should, because I've got a company, I should be, using these on myself, experimenting, but this is outperforming. And you'll see this in all these categories, anti-aging, acne, scars, rosacea, hence why it's good to go with proven wavelengths for proven conditions. So you're not like guessing and wondering. Muscle building, athletic performance, post recovery workout, mental stamina, cognitive performance. And you can see 630 all the way up to 1060 are the wavelengths that are proven for these certain conditions as the former ones or the previous ones I was sharing. Light has the most immediate response of all things. And the reason is because you're relying on your mitochondria. If your mitochondria have energy, they can perform cellular function, they can fight inflammation, they can actually regenerate and replace. So if you replaced all your organs, why would you have any disease at all if you replace them? And your cells constantly work to replace all of your organs on certain intervals, some months, some years, some etc. And so you're regenerating, hence the topic there on the top of the page, stem cell regeneration. You're regenerating stem cells, and through mitochondria. Mitochondria in the stem cells, once they get energy, the stem cells can subdivide more rapidly, proliferate more rapidly. You'll produce more in the body. You'll give those stem cells what they need to grow into normal, healthy cells, so they'll mature. And I found personally, after my own experiences with family members, with my own health, with my wife, that red light is outperforming stem cell therapies because it's tapping into how stem cells grow. And why would you put more in the body when the ones that you have in your body don't have what they need to mature and grow? And what you're doing is you're making them rapidly multiply in the body with light therapy, as well as feeding them what they need to mature. Acne, circadian rhythm, skin rejuvenation. This is all 480 now, wound healing and autophagy. And then 590, hyperpigmentation, collagen production, skin texture, inflammation, circulation, wound healing, autophagy. And like these are examples on rosacea. This is a case study with a woman. She's a younger woman, and look at her nose after this is just a few sessions. The face peels didn't work. The acid peels are expensive, they're painful, but red light therapy did work. And it was only twice a week for 10 sessions, which means that she completed that treatment in 5 weeks. And look at the difference there. And like you still see a tiny bit of redness, but it resolved the issue. Imagine what that girl's nose is going to look like over another 5 weeks, and then over another 5 weeks. She's only 22. She's got a life ahead of her, and she doesn't want to walk around with a red nose, having to cake up makeup on top of it. As does this older man at 68 years old, who also had the same response. You can see that before and after with his rosacea, and that was papulopustular rosacea. And like these are great studies. This is clinical studies. This is straight from PubMed, so you can see it. And that was both blue and red. And again, a lot of the devices don't have the blue, so you miss out on some of those key aspects there. And see the 22-year-old and the 68-year-old here in the text. These were the case studies. But like what we're interfacing with through photo biomodulation, photo light bio life modulation to change something, which means to change something, to change the process of life through light. And then you're looking at how it stimulates organ health, everything from liver health to kidney function to lung health, and every organ has mitochondria. So heart health, especially brain health, especially heart health, and bone health. bone healing, osteoporosis management, hair benefits, scalp, hair growth, skin benefits, skin rejuvenation, wound healing, which is what you were talking about, what happened to you. These are great signs because it shows you what's going on in the organs. A lot of people in the audience didn't get a cut, so they don't really care that you got better. For themselves, they think it's cool, but they maybe have an issue. They've had a hereditary issue they believe is hereditary, a genetic issue, but it's really an absence of certain healing um, uh, influences in the body, and it's a presence of toxins, aging benefits, cognitive function, cellular regeneration, and here's all the bone health studies you can see here. Where we're seeing that you're seeing cell growth and dependent on plating density, this low level light therapy or laser therapy can enhance osteogenic potential for rat MSCs, which is mesenchymal stem cells. So you're actually interfacing with stem cells, which are, there's the mesenchymal stem cells is really a big part of how you're tapping into how the body heals, regenerates within organs and etc. So, and then here you've got case studies on arthritis. We've got great clinical evidence there. And yeah, photobiomodulation's effectiveness in arthritis treatment has been extensively researched in arthritis specific cells. It's reducing inflammation. And it's not just the downstream, because you could take drugs like steroids that reduce inflammation, but they don't deal with the root, what's causing that inflammation in the first place. So what you're doing is you're doing both. You're dealing with the inflammation and you're dealing with the root cause of the inflammation, which is typically toxicity.
And I might have you just brought me on to a thing here.
Yeah.
You were talking about photoactive supplements. You mentioned turmeric, and I remember
Yeah.
last time you mentioned black pepper or berberine.
Yeah.
Because we're on the wine vines. I got 600 feet of fence of wine vines that we're putting up right now. They've been growing for a couple of years. So I'm on the Fruit Gardener's Bible this week. This is my book.
Nice.
Tell me about some fruits, spices, herbs, that sort of thing that are photoactive. And you'd gotten into it just a sliver the last time we talked. But once I was editing last time, I'm like, I want to know more about that. So the photoactive,
Yes.
can you give us a list more than just turmeric and maybe
Oh,
the
yes, I
berberine and black
can.
pepper sort of
I
thing? Maybe
can.
some fruits or something like this that you might have in there
Yes.
as a list.
Yes, and I'll tell you this. This is what people aren't talking about. Here's the secret about
Oh, there's
this.
your riboflavin B's. Yeah, B vitamin. Yeah. How does that get
Yes,
better absorption on B vitamins?
there you go. Here's the cool thing about light therapy and photoactive components. Everything in the plant kingdom is photoactive. Okay, that's number one. Everything. And so why am I presenting a few? These are particularly studied. They stand in that top tier of things. So if you're going to get a supplement as an example, you may as well get the one that's most photoactive if that's what you're trying to do. But especially anything raw, right? So like if you're cooking it's going to become less photoactive. But I'm talking about those raw green smoothies that a lot of people are doing in the morning. If you're not doing them, like it's a great way to stack the therapies. You get that pint or get your fresh garden. You're following great people like David that can teach you how to be self-sustainable. You go get those raw greens, which all grew because of what? Light and water and fertilizer, but they like think about the fact that they have mitochondria. So plants have mitochondria. Is this giving clues? And they are they go through a process of photosynthesis. So where they're converting light into energy and then that's stored still in those plants. You eat them, expose yourself to light, and then you're activating those. And by the way, as well, whether you're doing a red light therapy device or getting out into the sun, both are going to be photosensitive, photoactive. Why is the light device like this so effective? Well, it's tapping into that at a higher level. It's giving a much higher irradiance. If I put a meter out and put it up in the air or just in front of me, and I got a reading of the sun, and then for how much power density is coming out and put it in front of a device, especially up close, it's night and day. I don't know what the exact number is off the top of my head, whether it's 10, 20, 100 times, but it's a lot more power dense. And that's what, more people need to be doing these experiments, showing these things. Think about it, David. The other area that was cut, do you wear long sleeve shirts when you're working or typically have your sleeves rolled up?
Depends on the heat of the day and what time we're out during the sunlight. So if we're out at the middle of the day, full hats, full shirts, and especially anything sharp working, tree trimming, chainsawing,
Yeah.
anything metal, especially fencing, you got to be fully covered, eye protection, everything. I
Yes.
mean,
Is it possible that this cut here still got sunlight exposure though, David? Any sunlight exposure? Maybe hardly any.
well, in the evenings, especially when we're doing things, I always wear short sleeve out because it's coming into
There you
summer.
go.
It's still in the,
Which is
mid,
yeah,
it's still
exactly.
around 80 in the evenings
Which
when it
is red
starts
light
to.
you, as well. So if you're ever out, you're getting that, and you're only probably putting your other hand over the light for 20 minutes or so, and that's what we're saying. But my point there is that often this is exactly what we'd see, where you had a cut that arguably was exposed, not all day, because no one's in front of a device all day. It's not a fair analysis, right? So if you've got just a bit of exposure during the day, it means you did get some sunlight directly to there, especially if it was in the evenings. And you even got red light. There's a higher irradiance coming out of a device, and that's why you're seeing a more rapid healing on your hand where you applied the red light device specifically. But nevertheless, I still want to encourage people, if people for whatever reason they can't get a red light device, then get the sun, and then chicken lamps. You can buy chicken lamps for $10. Get the red chicken lamps, put your hand in front of it if you've got a wound, or get yourself in front of it for seasonal affective disorder or for depression. It will be effective. It will be helpful. The irradiance again is fractions of a percentage, maybe as much as 50 times more powerful to have like a light emitting diode source. These are consistently non-flickering sources of light, but just so you can understand the comparison. But even getting that few percent, or that comparatively lot less dosage, it's still going to be effective. Nevertheless, here's the studies on chlorophyll, curcumin, riboflavin, methylene blue, artemisinin, and berberine, and green tea. The mechanism is, how it's working is that it's increasing the ability of the cells to generate reactive oxygen species, ROS, which is examples of those are singlet oxygen and free radicals. Typically understood as negative, but in this case, and like there is quite a debate on this. When you're causing your cells through light to produce reactive oxygen species, they're always good. They're always effective. And what they do is they're highly destructive to damaged cells that need to die because they're taking energy from the body. So these senescent cells that are zombie-like cells, they're actually taking your energy. And the reason why you feel sick and sluggish is because your cells are sick and sluggish. So the best thing to do is actually clear them out and create new ways for the good. So when you're putting photosensitizers into your body, like the ones mentioned here on this page, and anything in the plant kingdom, raw specifically, then you're enhancing the ability for your cells to absorb light and to produce reactive oxygen species at higher rates.
So
Yeah,
you got the curcumin. So then you maybe have ginger, onion. What are the simple things like cumin seeds or cumin or cilantro or star anise? These types of things that are
awesome.
able to mix in there because
They're even better. Like anything that's more bitter is typically more powerful. Anything that's stronger is typically better, and that's why, like, look at the darker leafy greens like rocket and
yeah, mustard
arugula.
greens,
Yes, they're
kale.
they're, they're darker. They have more of these phytonutrients, like iceberg lettuce, very light in color, very watery. Not really much other than a bit of water. Not bad, but not great. And so, if you're going to buy the one that's dark, rich, cruciferous vegetables, etc. So look at these examples. Methylene blue, it is a good one for this type of thing, right? So methylene blue is effective. It's working with the peak wavelengths are here. So 660 and 670. So imagine if you had a device that wasn't peaking there or didn't have those wavelengths, you may not be able to activate methylene blue. And if you're trying to just do that with near infrared, you may miss it. So you're taking it, you're like, yeah, I'm doing red light therapy, but you're doing near infrared, you're at 800, so you're not even activating it. Bummer, right? Now David's thinking, man, I'm like really lucky that I've got a device that has 9 wavelengths, because like it just keeps going. Like chlorophyll, again, a lot of them are activating at this 660, 670. Both of those wavelengths are in that device that's behind you and me. This is producing singlet oxygen, reactive oxygen species generation, mitochondrial support, best uses of these conditions, as you can see, clinical notes, studied, it crosses the blood-brain barrier, dual use with near infrared, which is awesome. So it is helpful. Near infrared becomes effective if used in tandem. So it's saying dual use, it needs to be at the same time. That's what that
So
sentiment
wait,
implies.
can I hit you up with the chlorophyll that you're coming to next there? Is that
Yeah.
spirulina or Corellia algae, or what kind of
Oh yes,
chlorophyll type?
any like any chlorophyll and like a chlorophyll supplement. That chlorine E6 is a derivative. They're taking just this certain aspects that's heavily studied. It's a photosensitive aspect. And then the next question you'd ask ChatGPT. By the way, like this you could do this with a non-paid ChatGPT. It's going to tell me the same exact thing. Chatgpt.com and put into it, when do I take this before I get in front of the red light? And it will tell you the like how soon to take it. Methylene blue 30 minutes before chlorophyll. All these other ones typically 2 to 3 hours. And the thing is, if you've got it in your body and you're doing red light multiple times a day, you're taking the supplement once a day, it's still in the body generally. So it's not that you don't get any use of it, it's just you get the most heightened use of it at that time. Curcumin, which is it's activating weekly at 660. It activates as well at 480, 470, which is in the blue spectrum. So it's interesting that red activates with blue, blue activates with red, methylene blue is activating with red, curcumin is quite red in color, activating with blue. It's an antioxidant, it's photodynamic. St. John's wort, which is the hypericin, and that is activated at 590, 660. We have those wavelengths, which is awesome. Um, Generates reactive oxygen species. It's antiviral. Skin conditions, mood related disorders. Potent, but can cause photosensitivity, which is
Yeah,
great.
don't take that in the summer. Like for me, love St. John's
Wow.
wort in the wintertime. But we are
There
out
you go.
far too much in the summer, and I tell you, I will get sunburned in minutes if I'm taking a St. John's wort. Come
Wow.
back just absolutely just scorched, like you've been on the surface of the sun.
Wow.
And I learned many years ago, not in the summertime. It's really quite nice in the winter because you're not getting that so much direct sunlight. So even a little bit, the effects are enhanced where you'll start to feel like you've been out in the sun, and that's really
Wow.
something nice to feel in the wintertime.
Berberine with red light, 630, 660. And, it's better if you've got 630 and 660 because you're activating at both points. And guys, like the key is to like Google in this case is your friend and ChatGPT and Enoch and Grok, they're all your friend. Like use this and push things to their limit. Don't settle for what you're going through as though it's just like part of your lot in life. It's not. It's the absence of knowledge and that's the key. Um, but
Yeah, I'll
like,
edit all that stuff out.
here's an example of a red light belt, right? So this costs so little. You can put it directly over anywhere of the body. And it's got settings to push up the intensity here. I'm going to push it up from that's L1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Here we go. This is a higher density. You can see how much that's lighting up my face, right? So it's like it's around 90, 92, 95 milliwatts per centimeter squared at the surface. Put that over the affected area and you'll see all the things we're talking about. These are tools that exist that people need to know about so they can get their lives back. Guys, you have no idea, like maybe you do have an idea how valuable the information that we've shared is, regardless or not whether you have an interest in like these particular red light devices or not. That knowledge, you need that knowledge is so important, so powerful, and you can use that to set yourself and your loved ones free. What's powerful about this is that you're getting a device that is able to be able to help and interface with like through all the different 9 wavelengths, work with all the different conditions that we talked about. And then this is the Red Life Pro 200. And which is the smaller one that you see here. It's super effective, and you see the power density that's 192 milliwatts per centimeter squared at 3 inches. And then here you've got the Red Life Pro 300. That's the irradiance on this one, 195. You'll see now the Red Life Pro 300 Max irradiance. That's 205 milliwatts per centimeter squared at 3 inches, which is the one you've got behind you there, David, the one that I've got right here. So these are examples. And so like just to kind of wrap that up, and people, if what you do is go to myredlight.com, use the code adapt at checkout, and that's super simple. You'll get an extra 10% off. You'll activate the price you can see on the page. So you'll activate that low pricing. You'll get all the free gifts that comes with it, which all that is bundled there on the page. A lot of amazing tools and gifts. You can also access the payment plan. That's through PayPal. And so that can be a pay in 4 or 6, 12 or 24 months. So you can just break it down into monthly payments if that's what you need. Or if you're paying in full, just think about what that is monthly. And even in a single year, you buy a supplement for $50 as an example. That's going to cost you a good $600 for the year just for that one supplement. And then at the end of that, you don't own anything at the end of that. Whereas in this case, you buy a device for whether it's $500 or $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever the price. Think about what that is monthly over the course of 10 years, and then you realize, whoa, because these are lifetime devices. They 50,000 rated lifespan hours, FDA Class 2 certified. You saw the quality, right? Hard cast iron. These things.
Yeah, so this thing is girthy and built to last for a lifetime.
Yeah.
I wish everything was built like this because
Yeah.
you get stuff. It's made out of plastic. This thing is solid. Yeah, I think it
Yes.
was. Yeah, I mean, when I say solid, I am talking solid. Well, I mean, you look at this. You would think this was something that was built in the late 1940s or 1950s with that
Yeah.
like durable, buy it once in your lifetime quality that my grandparents used to experience.
Yeah.
That we've lost in this disposable landfill economy we live in. This thing is built to last. It's serious. This one will last you a lifetime. There's none of this. You got to replace it at Walmart a couple years after you buy this thing. It is buy it once. It is a lifetime purchase. Kid you not. This is so. I was shocked at how well built this thing. I didn't know what to expect. This thing is a battle tank. I'm telling you, right there. Yeah, Jonathan, I'm appreciative that you came on the show today, and as always, trying to share. Anybody, this is all at your fingertips. What we talked about today. There's no reason that any one of us cannot go to a search engine or a large language model and then figure all this out and then put things together. It's so, as we look at world history, at least the way it's been taught to us in this linear fashion, we are at the apex of knowledge and the availability of knowledge right now. So we should be the most proactive in using this, and I hope you would be too. And that's why we're leaving you all these breadcrumbs here so you can jump on top. And we need to think about something else and take sovereignty back in terms of the way we look at our medicine and holistically and how we can heal our own bodies and using thought, vibration, and frequency to do it. And light is exactly that. So I'm going to stop. Thanks for joining, everybody. Bye for now.
Thanks so much.
How do you feed your families when the shelves are empty, the stores are shut, and there's no food available? What is the fastest, easiest, and most productive foods to grow? What is the quickest way to get somebody who has no skills at all up and running and producing very quickly? If you understand that we're at a point in history where it is no longer optional to be growing your own food. If you're like really freaked out and concerned because you've never grown food before and you don't have any skills, you don't know how to do that, but you know how important it is, then I want to let you know, however you stumbled here, you're in the right place. My name is Marjorie Wildcraft. I'm the founder of the Grow Network, and I have been the female leader in the survival and preparedness space for the last 20 years.
How to grow lots of food, even if you have no experience, are older and out of shape. This is for people who want the fastest and easiest ways to produce healthy and delicious meat, eggs, and vegetables. Because you know that growing your own food is like printing your own money. During this webinar, you will get status of global food shortages, how long the crisis will last, how much space you need to grow food, easiest, highest calorie foods you can produce, a complete plan for producing all the food you need, how to get started today, regardless of season. Marjorie will show you the fastest, easiest, and simplest ways to produce calories and nutrition, especially in a crisis and/or grid-down situation. The assumption is that you have no experience and you need to start producing food immediately. The most popular part of the webinar is the Q&A session at the end. So please come prepared with your questions.